Hello, my name is NattakitSukapuntavorn. This video is a result that I have done research about user experience and user interface about the game called Monster Hunter World. Enough with the trailer, let's start off with what is UX and UI. UXs stand for user experience and UIs stand for user interface. Most of the people might think that these two elements are the same, but it is not. Both of them are working together, but they are different things. And these are the comparison to the other game user interface. So the question is why they have to make it similar to other game. The answer is to create the similarity to the other game, so when the new player come play the game they would not feel as uncomfortable or trying to figure where are their health items, pause menu and etc. As we can that they put health at the top because it is important and the player have to keep looking at it all the time during the action and fighting is happen up top part of the screen, so it is easier for a player to look at it. And other stuff is that are at the bottom is lower significant when we compare to the health bar. Like a map that is not necessary during fight, and the items like potion will be used when the health is low, which is why health bar is more important than potion. After the analysis I would like to talk about my experiment. Let's start off how I designed my experiment. For Monster Hunter I have 6 black box and 5 gray box. You might wonder, what are those black box and white box? Let's start with black box experiment. Black box is where you give condition to the tester and strictly the player to achieve the given condition. The other one is gray box. For the gray is not strictly as the black box. You give the condition and let the player choose to do it or leave it. The last one is white box experiment, which is let the player freely play the game and do whatever they want. The use for these 3 different experiment is the black box is to test the specific part of the game and to see whether they will achieve or not. The gray box is for test that the player have interest to do the condition or not, and the last one is white box experiment is used to let the player freely be themselves. It is used to test what the player interest in the game. But before we start analyzing, I would make a claim that the result from my test are mostly come from a man who is single and 70% of them have been playing Monster Hunter before. The good thing is our tester have variety of favorite game, which mean that the result of the test is come from different gamer perspective. Lastly, the tester confidence to beat the game. Most of the player are not unsure, might be because they do not know what is up for the challenge. So here's some of their gameplay. Based from the gameplay that I show, it is unsurprisingly that there are only 3 out of 10 of the player who pass the experiment, but the weird part is that the difficulty that they are given is not high as I expected. The difficulty mean is only 5.3, which mean the reason that they die and cannot accomplish the goal is come from something else rather than the condition difficulty. So here are the list of the problem that the play found during the experiment. Most of them are the basic stuff like they do not know how to control or cannot find the monster. It is very weird since the 70% of the player have been playing Monster Hunter before. So I think the reason is that Monster Hunter have high learning curve. Which mean that the player have to take a lot of time playing the game. The player who is playing the game for 2 to 3 hours might not be able to master the basic of the game, which cause them a trouble when they are performing the experiment. For the next part of video I will talk about stuff that I found interesting to analyze. First off, the player ego. If you still remember the gray box experiment that I mentioned before. Two of them are contrasting each other, which do not die and do not drink the potion. It is contrast because if they don't drink potion the player will die, but if the player drink potion they will survive but fail the condition. 80% of the player refuse to drink the potion and they will fight until they die. Which mean that the player have a strong will to accomplish the goal no matter how hard it is. And they will lower themselves to do something easy like drinking the potion. It is really cool to see human nature that never surrender to anything too easily. Next of is the player skill play that get from the other game also apply to Monster Hunter World. There a tester named Jin and Kem who have been playing Monster Hunter less than an hour, but he is very good of the game and be one of the few people who is be able to beat the challenge. It is proof that the player who play the game that have similarities does carry their skill play to other game like Dark Soul. That Jin play have similar mechanic to Monster Hunter like dodge and attack, and his reflect is incredible during the experiment. Lastly, if you guys remember the black box experiment that I mentioned, that let the player pick a fight against 6 different monster. I want to test if the monster name can reflect their strength. The result is yes, it does reflect the strength of the monster. 7 out of 10 player are likely to pick a fight against monster named Dodogama, which is the weakest monster in the list. The reason is the repetition and similarities of the word, making the listener feels that it is cute. For an example, Pun, Gigi and Lily. Moreover, the word gamma also make the tone more smooth, and when these two words are combined together it does make the monster feels weaker. Before I am going, I want to says that these analyses are come from my opinion. If some of the analyses are wrong I would like to apologize and thank you for take your time and watch my video. Bye bye.